Hey everyone, and welcome back. So have some announcements and some updates on some previous announcements. Have some more details of some upcoming releases, including one that I was actually kind of getting a little worried on because I was starting to think that, oh boy, did it get canceled or something? But luckily, no, it is still coming. Do want to mention one thing real quick. Still waiting on the official, actual announcement of the upcoming release of Jaws 2, the 4K release. It looks like it's coming from Universal directly. Still, again, I assume probably no new extras. Probably have the same extras that were on the Blu-ray. It is loosely slated for the 4th of July, actually, ironically, which I guess is technically perfect. Although 4th of July was more the first film than the second film. But anyway, but I will say that that is a loose date until we get the official announcement, which hopefully should be any time now, considering that we're now less than 2 months away. And next up, coming from Tribeca Films, slated for September 12th, is the Robert De Niro film A Bronx Tale getting a 4K release, which is long overdue. This is definitely a very underrated film. Happy to see it's getting a proper release. At least I hope it's a proper release anyway. Not too much. It basically has a new 4K restoration of the film. Don't have any specifics beyond that. Some of the specs may be kind of basic, so I assume it'll, have HDR and probably just maybe a stereo mix. Not quite the film they're going to go either way for audio mixes, so I assume probably at the very least probably just a 2.0 stereo mix, which again, hopefully should be the original theatrical audio. It does, though, come with some new extended interviews with Robert De Niro and Chaz Palminteri. And if I remember correctly, I think Chaz Palminteri actually wrote it. I think it's actually based on a play he wrote. I could be wrong about that, but anyway, just happy that is getting a 4K release. Again, slated for September 12th. Have a quick update from Arrow on their upcoming release of Blackhat, the Michael Mann film. It was getting a 4K release. It's actually due out, I think, next month or something. I don't know, is it June or July? I can't remember offhand, but it's actually getting delayed until September because they are actually going to include the alternate cut in good news and bad news. So actually, it's not going to be a 4K version of the alternate cut, though, but it is going to be included on a Blu-ray. They did send out this message. We listened to your feedback about our release of Blackhat, not including Michael Mann's revised director's cut of the film, and we are very pleased to confirm that the original digital files have been found. It will now be included as a second Blu-ray disc. To allow time for disc authoring and quality control, we have had to push the release date back to September 4th. We hope you understand the necessity for this delay and are as excited as we are to be able to feature the significantly different version of the film alongside the two previously announced cuts. So originally it was just going to have the US theatrical cut as well as the international cut. And I believe the two cuts were pretty much close enough to be similar, but obviously the sort of quote-unquote director's cut, if I'm to understand correctly, because I've never seen it, is technically the same film for the most part, but a lot of scenes are in completely different order. It might be a little couple bits here and there that might be slightly different as far as like a new scene or not. I'm not, again, I've not seen it. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the main difference is just the order of scenes. And I think it's only been screened like once or twice. And if I'm not, I think it got shown on like TV, on like USA or TBS or something bizarre like that. I can't remember offhand. Now, so why it's only Blu-ray, I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be some update down the line. But anyway, did want to mention that, so that is getting delayed. Again, happy the alternate cut is on there as an option. Do wish it was 4K, but hopefully there'll be some more details on why it's only Blu-ray down the line. And next up from Synapse, slated for September 26th, is a standard release of Dario Argento's Tenebrae, the 4K release, which they did release last year in a sort of limited edition set. It went hand in hand with the Arrow release of it as well. And finally, they're coming out with a standard release. So for those of you who didn't want to pay the extra money for the deluxe set, you do still have to wait till September, but at least it is coming out. It's going to be a 2-disc set. It's going to have the 4K disc with looks like all the extras will be on the 4K disc, as well as an included Blu-ray, which again will kind of mimic. I have the new transfer on it along with all the extras. The main thing you're not getting in this set that is in the deluxe set, outside of obviously the packaging and the poster and some of those little extra bits, but as far as discs goes, the main disc you would not be getting is the 4K release that has the US alternate cut under the Unsane title, which was the cut that was edited down for an R rating here in the States, back then. So technically it doesn't really mean anything unless you have a fondness for a very highly edited cut of the film. Again, it was nice to have it in the limited edition, just like with Phenomena having that alternate cut of Creepers, for example. example. It's nice to have, but I mean, obviously, you know, for most of us, the version we want is the original Italian version, and that is indeed the version you will get in this set. And it should also be for a much more reasonable price, and you should be able to get it almost anywhere. And again, that is slated for September 26th. And two things from Kino, one, an announcement, and two, a other title is details. First up, the announcement is coming later this year, no specific date yet, is a 4K release of Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dynamite, aka Duck You Sucker. That was kind of like the other spaghetti western that kind of came around around the same time as the Dollars trilogy. So it's kind of nice that it is finally getting a 4K release. So again, no more details right now, not even a release date. They just made the announcement. Again, slated for later this year, which actually there's a couple 4K releases we're still waiting that were slated for later this year. One of them was Leviathan, which I'm still hoping that's still coming. So looking forward to the details on that one. But the other one we did finally get details for, even though it's been a very long time, is for the upcoming 4K release of William Friedkin's To Live and Die in LA. Now that is slated for July 18th, and it's going to be two versions. You can get just the Blu-ray if you haven't made the jump to 4K yet, or the 4K version, which will come with a 4K disc as well as the Blu-ray. And this does have a brand new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. Will be in HDR and Dolby Vision and have two audio options. The original 2.0 stereo theatrical mix, it looks like, as well as a 5.1 surround remix. And it looks like it ports over all the extras that were on previous releases, including, I think, some that were on the old MGM release, as well as ones that were on the Shout Factory release from a few years ago. So it didn't look like anything was missing. I think all the extras are here, which is cool. So the 4K disc will just have the movie as well as the William Friedkin commentary track. And then the included Blu-ray will have all of the other extras. So we'll have the movie with the new transfer as well as the commentary track as well. And then it ports over all these extras from before. Let's go through them real quick. Taking a Chance, an interview with actor William Peterson. Renaissance Woman in LA, interview with actress Deborah Feuer. Doctor for a Day, interview with actor Dwyer Brown. So and Faye, scoring To Live and Die in LA. Interview with composers Wang Chung. Wrong Way, the stunts of To Live and Die in LA. Interview with stunt coordinator Buddy Joe Hooker. Counterfeit World, the making of To Live and Die in LA, a 29-minute documentary, as well as deleted scenes, an alternate ending with introductions, a radio spot, theatrical teaser, theatrical trailer. And again, that is slated for July 18th. Now, this is one I heard about from, a while ago, but there haven't been any details. So there was even talk that did this get canceled or something. Luckily, it didn't. It is indeed still coming. So yeah, we're getting a couple William Friedkin films this year with To Live and Die in LA, and then later this year, The Exorcist. Waiting on the official announcement from that. My guess would be probably September, somewhere around there. But that'll probably be another month or two before there's any official announcement on that. Now, if we could only get the French Connection, I'm still surprised we haven't got a 4K release of the French Connection. Hopefully that can still come at some point. I know it's 20th Century Fox, so that one's a little bit more tied up because of Disney and all that. But hopefully, if they're not going to do it, at least license it out to someone who will. French Connection is one of my favorite films, so I would love that in 4K. And then finally, we got detailed the upcoming Toxic Avenger 4K set coming from Troma. That is slated for August 29th. And we finally have several more details of the set. So, as I mentioned before, so each film has gotten new transfers, I believe all of them from their original negative, I believe. And all four films were shot in 35mm. Each one will be HDR, and I believe the audio option will be 2.0 stereo. The first film, I think, might be mono, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And it looks like it ports over all of the extras that have been on previous Troma releases for these films, except it looks like each film does actually have a new introduction by Lloyd Kaufman. And of course, Vinegar Syndrome did the transfers on this. Even though this is a Troma release, Vinegar Syndrome did do at least all of the original transfers, and hopefully a good company is doing the compression on this, because what I don't want are really great transfers messed up by bad compression. So I'm hoping that this is technically, from the technical standpoint, much more of a Vinegar Syndrome release, just under the Troma banner. That's what I'm hoping. And there is just a quick thing regarding Toxic Avenger Part 2, because each film will be uncut, at least as uncut as humanly possible anyway. There is one thing for Part 2, which they did post here. The original negative of Toxic Avenger Part 2, while complete, was missing several short dialogue sequences in the opening third, which had been removed for pacing reasons. Although no film materials for these sequences could be located in order to present the most complete version possible, these short segments were inserted from the highest quality digital master. So it's quite possible there's just a couple bits for the second film that could be like HD up converts, but I mean, like, I'm okay with that. You know, I'd rather have like the full complete version, even if there are some bits and pieces that, you know, quality wise don't match. Like, I'm okay with it. I've always been okay with that. And as far as the extras go, let's just run through them. So for the original Toxic Avenger, and again, I believe most of this is just ported over from previous releases. It's got a prologue by director Lloyd Kaufman, introduction by Lloyd Kaufman, interviews with cast members, interview with co-director Michael Hertz. Mark Torgey talks about Toxic Avenger featurette, behind-the-scenes photo gallery, trailers, as well as commentaries with cast and filmmakers, and then Toxic Avenger Part 2. Also prologue with director Lloyd Kaufman, an introduction by director Lloyd Kaufman, At Home with Toxie mockumentary, interview with cast member Lisa Gay, Japanese news report on the filming of the Toxic Avenger Part 2, Radiation March short film directed by Lloyd Kaufman, the American Cinematheque Horror's 40 Years of Troma, trailers, commentaries with cast and filmmakers, and then Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie. Also has the prologue by director Lloyd Kaufman, audio commentary with Lloyd Kaufman, audio commentary with cast member Joe Fleischiger, behind the scenes of the Return to Nukem High Volume 1 screening at MoMA, the American Cinematheque Horror's 40 Years of Troma, Make Your Own Damn Horror Film, behind the scenes of Old 37 with Kane Hodder and Bill Moseley, a Halloween Carol short film, infomercial for Rabid Granny's Blu-ray release, Radiation March short film directed by Lloyd Kaufman, and then finally for Citizen Toxie, The Toxic Avenger Part 4. Again, prologue by director Lloyd Kaufman, commentaries featuring cast and filmmakers, Apocalypse Soon, the making of Citizen Toxie behind-the-scenes documentary, tribute to Lemmy, I'm glad that's on here, the American Cinematheque Horror's 40 Years of Troma, as well as trailers. And I believe this also has included Blu-rays. Everything on this release, I believe, is region-free. Again, slated for August 29th. I already have my pre-order in, but I'm excited to get the Toxic Avengers in 4K. Definitely, this is one I've been waiting for a long time, especially the first film, because as I mentioned before, the original Toxic Avenger was definitely my gateway, not only to Troma films, but I think also much more into sort of like over-the-top comedic horror films. So happy to have not just that one, but all four of them in as uncut as humanly possible in 4K. So this kind of wraps up this news video. Definitely let me know your thoughts on any of these. If you have any questions, again, I'll try and answer them as best I can. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.